Hello friends, long time no starve. I took an extra week and possibly longer to release this video. I apologize for that, but we're getting back into it, so here we go. Loading up the server. Now in the week plus that I took in between the last recording of the gameplay and this recording of the gameplay, actually on the very day that I did record this gameplay, Clay released an update for Don't Starve Together, one of their quality of life updates, which they do pretty often. They are really attentive to the game and they put a lot of work into it. So this update has a few changes, some that you'll see right away, like these loading screen tips, some that we'll see in quite a while, like the rework to the Ancient Guardian fight, and some that we won't see at all, like reworks to Wolfgang, the character. So you might be noticing that the whole crafting menu is very different now. I have paused the server, which I don't do very often, and I'm just kind of clicking around to get a feel for how this crafting system is going to be different long term. So I'm trying to figure out how to put my speedy balloon on the, quick crafting menu. I don't know what they call it. And then I'm looking around and seeing how to put things on the favorites and how to access the favorites once you do that. So I thought right here I was in the favorites, but I actually wasn't. I do click the favorite, the little star beside the lantern, and then I figure out that I have to click up there to get there. So now I'm going to add some things to my favorites menu, like the torch, which is already up there. I'll probably add a spear. And then what's kind of confusing, I guess, is that the favorites menu is different than the quick crafting menu on the right. So that menu doesn't go away when I close the crafting area. So I'm going to unpause because I want to make this razor. And I know that if I don't unpause and do it right this minute, I'm going to forget about it. So then we go back to adding favorites and just trying to pick things that would be helpful. So the favorites, from what I read on the Clay forum, don't carry over from world to world. So if I make a new world that isn't a lights out world, I would have different favorites most likely, and that's good. Like, I think that's a cool system. So looking at it now, I definitely could have removed the science machine from this quick crafting thing, but I think otherwise I've got it set up pretty well. Torch and fire, axe, a spear and a log suit, and then to make the spear and a log suit you need ropes, so I put the ropes over there. Speedy balloon, I don't think I craft a single speedy balloon this video, spoiler alert, but they're nice to have anyway. And then lantern. So now you might be thinking, well, don't you just refuel the lantern that you have with the glow berries from the caves? Or the light bulbs from the caves, rather. Glow berries are a different thing. And yes, you can do that. And you can refill your miner's hat with those too. But sometimes it's better to just craft a new lantern if you have extra ropes and sticks, because it only takes 2 bulbs to craft the lantern, but it takes 5 or 6 to fill up your old lantern. So sometimes you're better off to just craft a new one and then leave the dead one somewhere else and then use the new one until it dies and then craft a new one and then leave that dead one. And then eventually you can run down to the caves and grab, 100 light bulbs at once. So I clicked the tab button, which is a button I always have show the map, and it didn't work. So they have reset the key bindings. So I'm going to change mine back. I do tab for map, which I'm told I hit a lot of times, and then I do M for the scoreboard just because that's what the map is defaulted to, and I know it's not used by something else, so I just switch them. So it's been a while since I've been here, and I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. I'm remembering that I crafted my razor, and I would like to go and use that to shave some beefalo. They're in this savanna type area that my mouse is on right now, So I'm debating how I want to get there. Looking at the wormholes, I could go through this wormhole in the swamp, and that would take me right over there. It'd be a quicker trip per like footstep or whatever. So I'm kind of deciding how I want to do it. I've unpaused. I'm going to rearrange my inventory and get ready to embark. So here's these juicy berry bushes, which in hindsight I should have planted 4 of right now, because they take a long time to grow back, like 9 days or something. And we're on day 12, and winter starts on day 21, so quick math shows that if I planted them right now, there's a chance I could have had berries by winter. But if I plant them any other time, they're not going to be done by winter. So it's definitely not the smarter move, but the move I've chosen is to just leave them here for now. I do this a lot where I have an idea of how I want the base to be laid out, and rather than like half doing something, like putting the berry bushes and then just moving them again later, I just don't do them for the longest time, and it's not the way to play. So I would recommend doing something other than that. Now I took the pickaxe off of my little quick craft menu because I was like, I don't need that. And then the first thing I'm going to do is craft a pickaxe. So down we go. I've only got 44% of a lantern, so that won't last for very long. You can see I'm still wearing my miner's hat just to free up the inventory space, but it is completely empty. So I'm going to pick the lantern back up, which will take up one of the 2 inventory slots, and then I put that razor in Chester, so I had another inventory slot open to pick up light bulbs. Now this cave entrance I had not yet been in, so I do a quick look around. It's pretty far from the other cave entrances. Now Jakiosaurus has a great how to find the ruins guide on YouTube. So based on the fact that I saw 3 cave entrances already, I should be able to sort of make a little triangle out of them, go to the midpoint of that triangle, and then draw a straight line away from the triangle, like through the hypotenuse or whatever, and that should pretty well point me to the ruins. So even though I'm not going to the ruins right now, it's nice to go in and out of different cave entrances so that you can get that kind of information and have an easier time later when you're going for the ruins. So as I said last time, I always try to just pick up the light bulbs that come in 2s or 3s. That way you don't have to click 40 times to get a stack of light bulbs. You can do, 20 times, or whatever 40 over 3 is. 12, 13. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Now, I'm still having some inventory issues in this playthrough, where typically I wear a backpack, but I've been forcing myself to wear armor, because if I die in front of all you, I'm going to be pretty embarrassed. So I've got the armor on, I don't have the backpack, so I've got 1 inventory slot to play with, and I'm going to pick up the eye bone, which means I have no inventory slots to play with. So I've decided that I'm going to head into the swamp, just because I don't have it explored very well yet. And then this is also the path that I want to take to go to those beefalo, which were the ultimate goal right now. I thought this merm might help me, but I honestly don't know if he did or not. I leave pretty quick after this, and I don't know if they're fighting the bats or if they aren't. See, there's a little visual bug on the map there where the Glommer was too far away from me when the map was unloading, so there's like a bunch of little leftover Glommer images on the map. Don't know what to say, but when I go to them again, they go away, so that's kind of nice. So there's truly no reason at all for me to have the Glommer following me. I accidentally had their flower in Chester. Had I put any thought into that before I left, I would have left their flower at the base. Like I had mentioned last episode, I like to have the Glommer at the base, right next to the kitchen, so that when the crock pots are cooking, you can stand next to them for a few seconds and get plus 0.00001 sanity, or whatever it is. It's not very much. My sanity's currently at 3. There's my buddy Terrorbeak. I do have a spear, so I'm gonna fight him. And I've decided that since I'm already at low sanity and I'm close to starving, I'm going to go ahead and eat these blue caps. Blue caps are great because they heal you, I think 15 health or something. It's a pretty substantial amount, but they cost like 15 sanity to eat. So if I eat them at 0 sanity, they don't have any drawback. Except the fact that the longer you're at 0 sanity, I mean, the more chance there is for a second terrorbeak to come or something like that. But it didn't. So, all's well that ends well. Oh, just kidding. So now, I don't know why this terrorbeak is still attacking me, because I think they're supposed to stop attacking you when you get your sanity above 30. And killing one terrorbeak gives you 40 sanity. So, this one just trolled me. It let me swing on it a bunch of times and waste spear durability, and then it decided, oh, this guy's too sane for me to be fighting him. So it gave up and went away. Now, it's not that annoying, but it is kind of annoying that I wasted some time and some durability on my spear and all that stuff. And then this guy's trolling me too. I just can't catch a break. I noticed that I have no gold at all, and I wanted to craft some gold stuff. So, I'm mining this rock just so I can get 1 gold. Keen viewers who have observed a few videos in a row and actually have a memory, unlike myself, will know that I have 20 gold at base in a stack in the chest. I figured this out later, but I did not know it at this point. I'm debating what I want to do with these berries, I'm going to debate what I'm going to do with the berries in a second. At that time, I was debating what I was going to do with the blue mushroom. So, again, I just really have too much stuff that I'm carrying around. There's no reason to bring Glommer. There's pretty much no reason to bring those gears. There's basically no reason to bring the pan flute, but I was just so eager to get going that I just kind of ran away from base without really doing the due diligence that I should have done there. It's kind of wasteful to do, but you can just pick a flower like that even when your inventory's full, and the flower just falls on the ground, and then over time it'll turn into rot. So a lot of people don't really like to do that because then you have, ugly rot all over the ground in your world, but we can't see that far anyway, so I mean, once I take 2 or 3 steps away from the rot, it's more or less gone. Now, if you were paying close attention, you'll see that I set down my spear to make inventory space, and then I have just walked away without it. Now I'm looking for something to use this shovel on, and I've found it. So shovels take 4% durability per use, which I think is true for everybody. Wes might not get a bonus on shovels. In regular Don't Starve, not Don't Starve Together, you can actually complete actions while the light is out, even if as long as you started the action before the light goes out. So I still try and do that a lot, even though I've been playing Don't Starve Together for the past several hundred hours and haven't really played the single player. It's just like kind of ingrained that you can do it, and then all the time I figure out that you can't, and it's mildly inconvenient for me. Now I get a bright idea here. There I see this lone spider den, and I'm looking for my spear, thinking, what have I done? Where have I put my spear? I'm not going to run back. That would take forever. It's not in Chester either. So I guess I'll have to craft a new one. Look at that, how convenient that quick crafting thing is. It's actually very nice. I like it a lot. Now, it turns out that's not the only spider den in this area, so a lot more spiders than I initially thought are coming at me. So in true West fashion, I'm just gonna run away. If I get the opportunity to get a clean kill on one spider here or there, I'll take that opportunity, but I'm not gonna bother trying to put up with all of that. And I know I told you that I was going towards the beefalo, but I also am compelled to explore the edges of the map and get the full layout figured out, so I'm kind of taking the scenic route to get to those beefalo. I'll get to them eventually. Now these pig houses, the pigs are mean and they won't leave their lights on when you get next to them, so they just leave you out to die in the wilderness to Charlie or whatever. But the pig houses can be hammered down with a hammer for boards and cut stone and pig skin. I haven't gotten any pig skin yet this playthrough, and it's important for a few crafting recipes, so I'm going to want to get some eventually. Now the issue is if I hammer down the pig houses, that's a one-time thing. So I'm debating some different strategies for how to get it without being destructive. One thing I might do is hammer down all of the pig houses anyway, and then use the pig skin to rebuild different pig houses. So you get 2 pig skin per house you hammer down, and it takes 4 to build a new house. So you have to hammer down twice as many houses, but then you can relocate them to wherever you want. I'm thinking if I relocate them all to one area, I might be able to do something with like lighting the house on fire so that the pig comes out, and then extinguishing the house and killing the pig, and then waiting a few days to see if the pig comes back. But that's all mid to late game stuff. We're still pretty early. I thought about getting some extra gears there by killing those clockwork guys, but I already have 1 gear in base, and that's all I really need for this early in the game. You need gears to build ice boxes to keep your food fresh, which I only need 1 of because I'm not going to be farming, so I'm not going to have tons of different kinds of food, so it should all stack up nicely in 1 ice box. And then you can also use gears to build the ice fling-o-matic machine, which will put out wildfires in the summer, which I won't be having, but I will likely build an ice flingo anyway, because in the summer there are other ways for fires to start other than just the wildfires. So, see, I moused over that crawling horror there to see if I could click on it, and since I couldn't, I know I'm not quite insane enough to fight it yet, but I'm getting close. Now, more inventory management. So, what I'm going to do here, since I'm not really going to use those mushrooms for much, is that I'm just going to cook them up, because the cooked versions do the opposite in this case, where it gives you, increases your sanity, but costs you health. So now, I really thought he was going to despawn, but he didn't, so I'm going to just fight him anyway. But I'm at least going to start fighting him with a much higher sanity. So when I get the little sanity bump for killing him, it will be all worth it. Just kidding. I can't kill any shadow creatures this episode. They just keep going away. So I first shaved this beefalo naked to get some of its wool, which I'll use for crafting recipes. But now I want also its horn, and the way you get the horn is only by killing it. There's not any way otherwise. Horns have a 25% drop chance, despite beefalo having 2 horns each clearly visible on top of their head. I've watched other people's videos where they kill, 16 beefalo in a row in order to get a horn or something, so I typically don't have that bad of luck, but it always takes me, a couple tries. So I've lured this beefalo kind of far away from the other one. If it attacks you, then it'll chase you for a short while. And then you let it attack at you again, and then it'll chase you for a short while again. And you just keep doing that until it's far enough away from the group. So I'm trying to pick up this meat quick, because that spider's gonna eat it if I don't. And I want to stay in this area because I've looked on the map and I see that there is a totally normal tree, and that's the best early game source of living logs, which are used for crafting magic items. Now, I have not made any progress towards the magic item crafting stuff. Well, that's not true. I made the hat. So you have to make the hat, then you have to catch some rabbits to put into the hat, and then you have to get some boards and some rope and stuff. But it'll be a while before I really need those living logs, but I want them anyway. Save myself a trip out here later. So now, this part kind of threw me for a loop here. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, so who's this now? This third beefalo out of nowhere. I was pretty sure that there were only two in that area. You know, I shaved them both and then kited the one away. So this is what I was talking about. I'm trying to get just the naked one to swing at me and not the other one. And then the naked one will keep running for longer and the other one will turn around. So that time they pushed each other into me, which is pretty common thing that happens in this game. Is like crawling horrors will push themselves into you, or beefalo will, or whatever, and it ends up being a problem. My juicy berries are partially spoiled, so I've decided to eat a few of them. You get half of the effectiveness, I think, when they're partially spoiled. So there I got the beefalo horn, second try. No big deal, I'm pretty good at this game. And I just make that joke because it's literally pure luck, whether you get it or not. Let's free up that inventory space, and let's hit the road. Well, let's hit this crawling horror. Well, let's try to hit that spider for no reason. I don't want the Glommer to die. Its life has been, you know, pretty well unfulfilled at this point. I want to take it back to base and give it a nice, happy existence. I don't want it to just die out here in the wilderness, so I had to take the spider out, but it did mess up my whole thing I was doing with the crawling horror. Crawling horrors. I never mind seeing two crawling horrors at once. I'm pretty sure that you can only get two nightmare creatures on you at one time. So this way it's two crawling horrors is definitely the easiest version of that. Crawling horror terrorbeak would be next, and then, you know, double terrorbeak is pretty hard to deal with. Spiders everywhere. They go so far from their nest at night. Was not prepared for that aspect of this run. Where if there's a spider's den, it just locks out a pretty good portion of the map. So I dropped my razor earlier, I believe, because I didn't want to carry it because of inventory space issues. There's terrorbeak, so let's take a break from doing anything to fight him. I put down this lantern on the ground, even though I'm not going to stand right on top of it necessarily, just because it's nice to have that extra view of where they could be coming from. So when terrorbeak teleports away, I have a better shot at knowing which direction it's going to be coming from. I'm having a little bit of trouble fighting them here, as I'm sure you can tell. So you saw probably that my character turned as if he was gonna swing and then just kind of didn't. I don't know. Honestly, I got on the forums and like 7 or 8 other people said they were having this issue too after the update. Might be something with just the way combat works. I don't know. But it caused me to take a few hits. that was just my fault. That was nothing to do with a bug, and I'm not going to claim otherwise. But I did have some issue there where I was pressing F and I wasn't swinging, so I don't know, something to look out for if you're playing right now. Makes Terrorbeak, who's already the bane of my existence, a little bit harder to deal with. So let's make a new razor. They're pretty cheap, and I'm going to use this one to shave these beefalo, but first I want to save my glow bulbs. Use this one to shave these beefalo, and then I'm actually just going to drop the razor over here with them. There are some other uses for razors, but there's no reason to carry one around. You know, if you're playing as Wilson, you grow a beard and you can shave the beard with the razor. Same with Weber, but it's a silk beard instead of beard hairs. Then there's some sea creatures out in the ocean that you can shave the barnacles off of. I've never done it. And I don't know if everybody can do it or if just Wormwood can do it, actually, but that's not really important. There's no reason to carry this razor with me, so there I leave it. I'm doing the quick math here on if I want to do my marking the wormhole with traps, which I usually do. I have 22 grass, and it takes 6 grass to make a trap, so like that kind of adds up quick. Oh, that's not the math I was even doing. I was doing the math on the fact that my log suit is at 2% durability. So I need to make an axe and a shovel. I didn't really need the shovel. I kind of maybe overcommitted there. But I definitely need to make an axe and get some wood so that I can make a new log suit. And that'll be another use of... Ooh, I didn't see that wormhole up there before. Interesting, interesting. So here we're going for the totally normal trees first. It takes 27 swings of the axe to knock down a totally normal tree as Wes. It takes 20 as anybody else. And then they drop these living logs, which are cool. They look like little sad boys. And then you can shovel up the stump for one additional one. I saw 2 totally normal trees on the map at least. So I'm going to go look for where that other one was. And then I might kind of zigzag through the area to see if I can find a few more. Oftentimes you'll get 3 or 4 of them in one of these forests. But I've had worlds where I got 0. What to do. Trying to cram 5 pounds of potatoes in a 1 pound sack or whatever. There's my old razor. Bye. 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Whee! Stump. Now, I'm deciding that I'm going to make that log suit. So I take one swing at a large-sized tree and then realize that I'm, you know, not that far from a spider's nest, so I should find a better tree that is not going to be as inconvenient. It's pretty frustrating when you hit a tree, 14 times or whatever, and then the spiders get attacking you, and then you got to dance in circles around it to hit it the last 6 times, and it's not worth the effort. There's got to be trees in this area that are not in danger. So I can hear the spiders attacking, which means either Chester or the Glommer is getting bitten. Chester I don't really care about. He'll come back, and he also has a lot of health and a lot of health regeneration. Glom Dog, I don't want to die, so I'm trying to move kind of quick to make sure that the Glommer is safe. That spider's heartless. I thought it was going to attack me after I killed its friend right next to it, but it just kept on Chester. Oops, there goes my 2% durability log suit, which means I took more damage on that hit than normal, I'm pretty sure. I think the durability works that way. Like if you wear a 2% durability thing and get hit, your armor only takes the initial amount that 2% would equal, and then your health takes all the rest of it. So, not a big deal. I'm rolling in spider glands. There's a Glommer goop. Now I'm debating, well, do I want to try and take this Glommer goop? I mean, it's pretty important. It's actually really not that important. It's literally poo-poo that the Glommer squeezes out every so often, but it can be used for pretty good healing in a pinch, and there are some other things you can do with it later, so I was thinking about it, but I'm just having such inventory trouble that I'm not going to put the effort in. Another troll where I swing on this guy a few times and then he just stops letting me fight him. Alright, so now I'm looking. Those are the ones where the trap's on the left. There's ones where the trap's on the down. So now I'm going to make 2 traps and put one on the north or up or whatever of the wormhole, and then go through it and put the one on the up of the other side of the wormhole. But as I'm deciding that I'm going to do this, I'm also realizing that I'm right next to a bunch of trees and I might not be on the other side, so I really got to get this log suit. This log suit is pivotal to me, so I'm going to go ahead and try to chop some trees in a spider-free zone if I can. Got 10% durability on my spear. Here I can save a little durability on my miner's hat. I'm just leaving the pine cones lay. A lot of the time I like to get the pine cones and build my own little forest kind of close to base, but in this type of a playthrough, I'm not basing in the desert, so I mean, there's trees everywhere, man. I don't need to really worry about it. I noticed that spider's hitting Chester. I thought for a second it was going to be hitting Glommer. It's not, so no harm done. Alright, Chester, I feel bad. I'll save you. Now, don't forget, I don't have my log suit, so you watched me in video 1 die to 2 spiders without a log suit, so even something as trivial as this can be pretty dangerous if you're an idiot. So, I gotta be on my toes all the time. Okay, so I have my 8 logs, but I've overcommitted my grass to making these traps. So I'm hopping through here and hoping to find some grass. Now, my first thought was, hot dog, I can go get a lot of grass out of this desert from those tumbleweeds. But then my second thought was, no, I don't want to do that because I'm already frustrated with my inventory. And if I pick all these tumbleweeds, I'm certainly going to get, you know, gems or trinkets or something like that. And then I'm just going to be annoyed that I can't carry them back to base. And so I don't want to do that. Now, in true Nightmare Creature fashion, these guys are trolling me again. So I set up this fire as like a little fighting ground. And the thing just disappeared. Very frustrating. I'm just pushing Glommer around, just kind of experimenting to see how close you have to actually get to Glommer to get positive sanity. And it's pretty close. So I'm heading back to base, but I want to make a purposeful path where I pick up some grass. So I was kind of deciding which direction was the best direction to go. Got to be able to make that log suit, which takes 6 grass because it takes 2 rope. Now my spear is also at 4% durability, so that'll need refreshed as well. I've decided that I can take the time to kill a crawling horror, and that I'm brave enough to kill a crawling horror without armor on. Now I don't have a spear, so I'm going to try and kill the crawling horror with... Okay, I'm leaving. I'm out of here. Forget about it. I didn't like this place anyway. I don't want to be here. So now we do the craft on the run attempt to make the ropes needed for the log suit. So Terrorbeak moves so fast. If it's the crawling horror, you can just walk away a screen and you don't really have to worry about it. With Terrorbeak, you got to use a road for sure. And if you can bait his attack, sometimes he just keeps running and tries to attack you again. And sometimes he, like, growls or whatever. There's no sound effect, but he, like, does that. And then you have time to craft. Now it's very dark over here. So I'm trying to decide what to do. There's old Lunchbox, just waiting to be consumed later. So I've decided I need charcoal anyway. I'll start a little forest fire, controlled burn, and take out this Terrorbeak over here. I leave my helmet on, or not helmet, the other thing. I leave my miner's hat on because I might have to run out of the range of that fire, and I want to be safe from Charlie if I do that. Now, I would be doing the craft on the run to make a spear, because fighting these guys with an axe takes forever as any character, especially as Wes. But I don't have any grass, because again, I made those traps just to mark the wormholes for really no reason. So I've really overcommitted a lot of resources here, and I'm feeling it very bad. You'll also probably notice that not only are my health and sanity meters incredibly low, but my hunger is not looking too great either. So I'm starting to starve, classic. So I eat this raw meat. Now, meat, the only difference between raw meat and cooked meat, other than how long it takes to spoil, is that cooked meat always, well, I mean, there's monster meat and stuff, but more or less cooked meat increases your sanity when you eat it, or does nothing to your sanity. Raw meat, if you eat it, decreases your sanity. So I still got the plus, like, 2 health or whatever that meat gives you, and I also got the hunger value, which was enough that I'm not going to die outright. Hey, look, I found that gold. There was me contemplating existence and mousing over it for a while. Now I'm kind of debating what I want to do here at base. So it's day 16. I'm not certain, but that was pretty slick, right? My lantern hat ran out right as I was putting that fuel on there. Didn't even plan it. If you just overfill your fire like that, it'll scare away those nightmare hands too. I haven't been doing it because it's wasteful if you're not going to be standing at the fire for a long time. But I plan on standing at this fire for a long time, so here we are. So I was starting to say, day 16, just about to be day 17, I think. And winter officially starts on day 21. I don't know how earlier than that it starts to get cold, but I've been in the caves before on other playthroughs on, you know, day 18 or day 19, and at night I start freezing. So I don't know the temperature difference between the caves and the surface, but I do know that Wes is more likely to freeze than anybody else. So I'm starting to think that I should probably just hang at base for a minute, get set up with some winter gear, and then, you know, continue my journey after that. So that's what I'm kind of doing. I'm going to set up the base. I'm going to set up the berry bushes, right? I'm going to do that. Just kidding. So I'm going to try and set up a kitchen and set up some winter clothing and get ready for, get ready for the cold. So this is neat. I like this new crafting thing. They've got the thermal stone showing up in a couple different menus, so you can click on the winter items, and it's got a little pre-selected list of things that it thinks you probably want for winter. And that list includes the thermal stone, and then you can also click on the... Oh, see, I almost did it. I was like, man, I could plant these on this corner. That would look nice. No. I'll find a better spot later, I promise. So anyway, they've got like a little winter list of items and a little summer list of items. Thermal stone shows up in both spots because you can heat it up in the winter or cool it down in the summer. Very cool. I like that they've added that type of functionality to the crafting menu. Previously, it just showed up in like the survival tab, and you had to open the survival tab and then scroll to the right like 10 items to find it. So I'm being kind of haphazard with just laying things around on the ground. None of this stuff is edible by anyone. So moles will eat rocks and stuff and gems and things. So you don't want to lay them on the ground. Spiders and pigs, which aren't really an issue in this one, will eat like food. If you're in the desert, buzzards will eat your food and stuff too. But that's not a concern in this area, so I'm being a little willy-nilly. Now, I will want to have a lightning rod ready before springtime, because if any one of these items gets struck by lightning, it's the end of all of my inventory. So that's a concern, but not a huge one. So we need charcoal to make our kitchen stuff, crock pots and drying racks and things like that. So I'm going to pick some up. You got to burn a tree and then chop the tree down to get a few charcoal. Now, when you first burn a tree, there's also a chance that it'll just drop charcoal on the ground right next to it. But most of the time you're burning a tree, you're burning several trees right next to it. So more often than not, that charcoal will just smolder and catch fire, and it's not actually that helpful. So I usually count on getting 1 or 2 pieces from a tree by chopping the tree. So that's enough to craft 1 crock pot. So I'm heading back, and I'm going to do a little crafting. You guys just stay over here, berry bushes. I'll find a spot for you later. So I'm standing next to the science machine because I don't recognize it because I put this skin on it for some reason. So then I stand next to the alchemy engine, which lets me craft more stuff. But I also want to grab my stones so that I can make cut stones. Okay, and so you have to double click, but you can still click and hold to craft, which is real nice. So you double click to build, and then you just hold the mouse for as many as you want. I wanted 12 cut stone, and I think I got it, but I had to pick them all up to figure that out. Yes, 12. So let's start making a kitchen. Now, I want my kitchen right here. I think it will look pretty, so I'm going to dig up this green mushroom and get it out of my way. I don't care about it. If you dig up mushrooms, they'll never come back, but that's okay. So, oftentimes what I'll do is set the ice box first and then make the crock pots in a circle around it. But I tried to do it a different way and do the crock pot first. And, like, trigger warning, this is going to look pretty bad. Like, if you're someone who's very concerned about the layout of how these look and the symmetry of how these are going to look, just avert your eyes every time I'm in base forever, I guess, because it's gonna be rough. But I've decided, no, I'll go and make 2 crock pots, so then I know the midpoint between the 2 crock pots, and I can put the ice box right in between the 2. But even as I'm thinking that, I don't think it'll work. So I don't think I end up doing that anyway. Start another little fire. I'm wasting some resources here because that sapling is going to burn and that other sapling is going to burn. They're both called saplings, which is kind of confusing. But whatever. Lots of light, nice and bright. So I'm going to head back to base, cook this up so I don't starve. And I'm going to think about making my kitchen. So I'm going to stand over here and put some stuff in the crock pot. So now that I was very surprised by. So it looked to me like I was still in the light, but apparently I was in like 1 pixel of darkness. And Charlie bit me. She got me good. I'm down at 1 health, so it's time to chug the Glommer Goop. Let's do it. Plus 40 health, minus all of my sanity. So I'm running to the fire, because I know that terrorbeaks going to be on me like flies on manure. Sure enough. Again, I wish I had a spear, but I don't, and that's on me. I had ample chance to go pick grass, but I chose not to. Now even now, 1 day later, as I'm recording the commentary, my heart is pounding, you guys. I was at 1 health. Unbelievable. That's like 1 flower petal that I picked and ate, just like, you know, one little thing like that saved the run. Run could have been completely over. And what do you know? Terrorbeak the troll wastes some of the durability on my axe and then just goes away. I don't even get the vengeance. But now I'm getting the panics, and so I'm thinking I've got to go and get grass. It's unacceptable to be without grass. So here I come. There's a killer bee out, so I remember, oh yeah, the bee queen's over here. I'll want to avoid those killer bees. I don't want to deal with them right now. There's Terrorbeak, back for more. He really keeps me guessing this playthrough. Like, really keeps me on my toes. Where's Terrorbeak now? Who can say? Now that I have an icebox pretty nearby, I'm not as worried about how quickly these berries are going to spoil. I still probably shouldn't have picked them all. Now I forgot about these fellas, just over here guarding their torches and all their berry bushes. Chester getting in my way. So 15 sanity. I got bitten again, but that's okay. It didn't do very much damage. So back to base. I'm going to try and craft some items, which increases your sanity. And I said I wanted to craft them anyway. All this winter gear and everything for the kitchen. I can also cook this berry to get a... berry, that's the second time. I can also cook this mushmoo to get a little extra sanity as well, if I want to. There's Lunchbox. she's lucky that I had that Glommer goop. The koalefant trunk is a good healing food, so baby girl almost got et. So that guy bit me, and then I don't know where he's at. Okay, there he is. Right? No. You can't even fight him, because I'm too sane for him to have been biting me. It doesn't make sense. It's a silky beard that only Weber can use. My playtime for this game is, I don't know, 600 hours. I bet not even 600 seconds of that are Weber. Alright. Now we'll get around to triggering all the people who use a geometric placement mod. I promise I'll fill this kitchen out later and put more ice boxes and maybe a salt box. And I think it'll look less trashy. But I can't make any promises. Getting as close as possible. That's it. That doesn't look bad. Oh, yeah, it does. Okay. Well, this is me debating if I want to hammer the icebox, but I can still have the icebox open and the crock pot at the same time. So, I mean, function over form in this one. Like, I'm just trying to get by. I'm out here getting bitten by Charlie in my own base, getting 1 hit point. I'm just trying to make it through. If everything's not too pretty, that's okay. I was going to stage another little expedition for more charcoal to finish up the kitchen. I like to have 4 crock pots. Again, in a world like this, I'm not going to have tons and tons of food at a given time, so I think I'm not going to bother. I'm going to get light bulbs and then debate if I want to grab extra stuff on the way back. It depends on if I start freezing or not. It's day 18. Winter's coming. So, we gotta see. Some grass down here too, as I'm severely lacking. These runs amount to a lot of trips to the caves for these light flowers and stuff. Late game, there's other ways to get light that don't require this type of fuel, but for now, this is what it is, so. Pick up blue caps when I see them too. They're good for health and they're good for sanity management. You can, in a normal playthrough where you're not insane the whole time anyway, you might want to eat them to go insane so you can farm nightmare fuel. Or you can cook them to increase your sanity instead, which is what I'm a little more interested in right now. No, I've decided to go with the miner hat instead of the lantern, so I just swapped out for my axe just to have something else to hold that isn't the lantern. I was correct. We're close to the end of the episode, and I did not craft a single speedy balloon. Honestly, 5 sanity is kind of hard to come by these days. Having trouble seeing these burn down trees in the dark. The miner's hat doesn't give as much light as the lantern, so it makes it kind of difficult. So that's why I'm checking the map so often, because I know they're here. I just have to figure out where. I don't have any, like, crock pot recipes that would increase my sanity. But luckily I crafted these, luckily I cooked these just on time for Terrorbeak to show up, so all's well that ends well. I know I have all the stuff to make the beefalo hat and some other winter things, so I'm clicking around to find it. And I picked up this 45% durability pickaxe that I had laying in base, which I thought I had laying in base specifically to make a thermal stone out of. In a few seconds, I will find that I had a 9% durability when laying in base to make a thermal stone out of. But that's okay. I'll probably go through a lot of thermal stones. If you keep it fully warm, so you can see it's like yellow hue in my inventory now. So if you keep it between the yellow and the orange, it doesn't lose durability. But that's kind of hard to maintain, so I end up just burning through them. Beefalo hat. Thermal stone, kind of a belt and suspenders situation where they're really both serving the same purpose, but I don't want to be caught with my pants down, you know. I want to have multiple ways to stay warm in the winter, so that's the best way to do it, is to just have a couple different options on you at all times. We can round out our kitchen a little bit. Okay, I'm giving up on that direction, and I'll go this way. I don't even think if I checked if that one's close enough to the icebox to have both things open at once, but it looks like it probably is. Wes is hungry. He's holding his little tummy. Look at this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, you guys. So I'm setting aside 8 of these to take to Pearl. She's the crabby hermit. She lives on an island, and I gotta go find her, and she wants 8 berry bushes when I get there. I already know this information, so I'm gonna set them aside, and I'm gonna plant these over here, real close to this crock pot. That'll look okay, right? Yeah, that looks totally fine. It won't look any different when I fertilize this. It'll still look totally fine. No big deal. Let's make a fistful of jam. I didn't do the math and see if this is an efficient use of 4 juicy berries or if it is a waste, but I just made one anyway. Here we go, 5 berry bushes. You know, a day and change before winter starts. There's absolutely no way they're going to bloom for the next, or fruit or whatever, for the next 16 days. It looks like trash now that they are fertilized and they're over top of my crock pot. I hate it, but I'm not going to dig them up and move them again, even though I could easily do that. It would cost me like 2 seconds worth of time since they're fertilized and I have all that extra rot. But here we are. Our base is functionally shaping up, even if aesthetically it is shaping down. I'm noticing that I don't have very many sticks, but I have some on the ground. I don't have very many rope. I would like to make some drying racks too, but they cost a lot of rope, so maybe I'll head over to the desert and get tumbleweeds and get rope that way, but not yet. Here's Glommer, doing a little dance for him. He made it through the episode, even though I took him all over for no reason. And on that happy note, we're gonna leave.